I mean, at the time I thought it was just this divine calling, but now I think it was just because I watched so much TV.
Yeah.
I grew up watching a lot of TV, and I think that it just sort of like permeated my being, and I wanted to be a storyteller. I wanted to be a part of telling stories. And my mom was not supportive of me doing anything like as a young person. Like I was part of these dance troupes and singing groups, but she said, when you're old enough to do it on your own, then, take yourself to an audition, which is such good advice. And I highly recommend that to people with kids. It's better to wait. And then I just, I started modeling, I guess, when I graduated high school. I wasn't sure like how to be an actor. I didn't know what you do. I never knew. I did know someone who was an actor because at my school, Michael J. Fox went to my school, which is crazy.
Did you know him?
Yeah, he went to my elementary school. Well, he was older than me, but I knew of him. And of course, there are so many Canadian actors now, but at the time, you also didn't know if people were Canadian, right? Because we didn't have Wikipedia, or you didn't know someone's bio or whatever. So it just seemed kind of like I don't know, how do you do that? But my dream was pretty, the fire in me was pretty strong.
Did you think,
so then,
go, continue. Yeah. I always have questions that I'm thinking of, but go.
Yeah. And then I moved to Toronto to model, and I was modeling there. And then I went to Japan and did there. And then I moved to Europe. And I was in Spain and modeling and stuff like that. And then I had an audition when I was in Spain for a TV show, like an American TV show, like a CBS crime time, after prime time kind of. And I got like this little part that was a regular role, like in Spain, like what's the likelihood that would happen? And I was terrible in it. And then the next season was in LA. And so I drove to LA, and, I had no money, no car, no green card, I got my SAG card from that show, and I got a work visa from that show. But I mean, I don't even know how I did it. I mean, how did we even book airline tickets back then? I have no idea, but without a credit card or whatever, like, was I going there with cash and like handing the cash? I mean, I have no clue. But I do know we were calling collect when we called home. And then I came to LA, and I was in LA. That was when I was just turning 25, and I just started working a little bit, just enough, and then I got The Matrix, and
I mean, you did a lot of other stuff before that.
Yeah. I mean, I did TV. I did, I think I was just talking to a friend about this. I did Models Inc. when I was 26 or something. Which was a Aaron Spelling show.
Yeah.
And at the time, like all those Aaron Spelling shows were so big. And I think that probably that show was the biggest learning curve and what set the tone for my whole career, because the show was supposed to be huge. We did publicity before we got into the publicity wheel, before the show even shot a day of the show. And I always thought that was odd. And I never got caught in it, like believing it.
That's good.
And it, it wasn't a successful show. We did one season, and I understood pretty early on that our business is very unpredictable. And I use this analogy a lot. I always looked at our business like a big fat alcoholic. That charming, great, fun, but don't rely on it. And so I always had that attitude, and not in a negative way, but in a very kind of like, I never really thought about how a show was going to do, or a movie was going to do, or if it did really well, like I enjoyed it, but I didn't buy into any of it, because I know how quickly it just like, it's this, right? It's
boy, are you lucky?
That.
You're lucky that you had sort of that subconscious, I don't know, insight or whatever.
Yeah. Really grateful. It really served me really, really well.
Yeah.